everybody. I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to a completely amazing VioBuzz Weekly.
Completely amazing, correct. We have Dave Courvoisier on the show via Skype from the newsroom in Las Vegas, something we've never done before. It's going to be a great show, and we're going there now.
Guys, we are taking a little help from technology today. Our guest is coming to us from KLAS Studios in Las Vegas. He is a super talented guy, award-winning broadcaster, blogger, author, voice actor, and social media wizard. We are so excited to get buzzed with the absolutely awesome Dave Courvoisier.
Yes.
Hey, Dave.
It's so great to see. I'm pinching myself over. Am I really on air with Chuck and Stacey? This is great.
Thank you so much. You are so busy. We have to tell everyone, he is on the air at the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news, 11 o'clock news. So he has sandwiched us in. So thank you so much. And we have so much we want to talk about. So we're going to just put you to it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I know it's later than your usual hours for doing these, so I appreciate your time too.
Oh, absolutely, man. Our pleasure.
And we're going to break the rule about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We're going to share what's happening in Vegas right now. So.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of what's happening in Vegas right now, there's an incredible event going on right now. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Because I know it's pretty nuts.
Well, you know, it's a constant stream of conventions and conferences here in Las Vegas. We have probably more than any other city, New Orleans, New York City, maybe. But right this week, the National Association of Broadcasters is in town. That's the NAB. It's probably the second or third biggest conference of the year. Place is packed with, ex-broadcasters, present-day broadcasters, and everybody in between who's trying to figure out what to do with broadcasting. Yeah. All the promo people. It's an international convention. And, of course, I got, 80 friends from past stations I've worked at that are here and want to have lunch or dinner with me. And I'm like, there's only so much time in my day.
That's great.
That's great, man. And then you had mentioned to me earlier when we were doing a little test there, yes, we do test on VioBuzz Weekly, that there's a lot of voiceover people out there right now.
Well, there are. We're kind of the lost stepchild in all of this. There's broadcasters, there's musicians. Oh, and by the way, there's voice actors too. And we all use the same equipment, but nobody seems to market to that niche of voice actors. Yep. Everybody seems to market to the musicians and the broadcasters. Right. And so you kind of have to find your way through the exhibit hall and pick up the stuff. It's all there. I mean, Neumann's there, and the folks who make, shock mounts for mics are all there. Everybody's here, but they just aren't marketing to voiceover talent. They're marketing to radio stations or radio groups or television stations,
We need to get the voiceover community a little bit of love. Dave, that's your new mission. That's your mission.
Okay.
So you're there representing both, so that's good.
Yeah, in a sense, I am. And, it's all in kind of a sea change right now because broadcasters are trying to figure out what to do with the future. Mm-hmm. Voice actors are adjusting to some new realities of digital media. I mean, so it really is kind of exciting right now. It's an exciting time.
Absolutely, man.
Yes.
And we're going to get a little bit more into that. But before we do, and right now we're teasing people because we're gonna give you guys so much unbelievable information today. Your brain's going to explode. Yes. But we're not going to give it to you just yet. Dave, I wanted to ask you, man. You have a book coming out.
Yes.
And I want to know all about it.
Okay. Well, I've been blogging for 5 days a week. For I don't know how many years, 5 or 6 years, just on voiceover. So it's tailored to the niche of voiceover people. And I got to looking back through all of my blogs, some 2,500 of them, and I go, wow, there's some pretty good stuff here, So I thought, well, you can filter your way through all the blogs, or I could just put it all together, nicely collated and categorized into a book, which I decided to do. I hired a virtual assistant to help me with it. She's a ghostwriter, and she really is great at digital media, and she has been working on it. We got like 250 pages. I don't know how many articles, and it's just a primer for people who want to learn how to survive in the voiceover business. Mm-hmm. The title of it is You Need More Than a Good Voice to Be a Voice Talent.
Ain't that the truth?
Love it. Amen to that. And how can people get it?
Well, that is the challenge. I'm talking to a lot of publishers. I'm talking to people who have already published to find out how they did it. That's a whole world too that's in the sea change. Yep. Publishers are going through this as well as all of us in the digital media, traditional media like TV and radio. So you have to find your way through it. First, there's the ebook version or the PDF version. And then there's the print version. And then, who do you distribute through? The distribution channels. Do you go through Kindle? Do you go through ebooks? Oh, my gosh, there's so many choices. And there's a lot of people at each juncture that would love to take your money, so you got to be careful.
Absolutely.
Will you be narrating your book?
That's a great thought. That has occurred to me. I haven't really gotten to that point of the decision-making process yet because I just want to get it out, right now. But it would make sense, wouldn't it, to go ahead and narrate it too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who knows you better than you? Well, you keep us in the loop
my style,
about.
so that's unique, I guess. My ghostwriter said, most people come to me and say, I want to write a book. Where do I start? And she goes, you've already written it. I just got to put it together, which
it's
was,
logistics.
I guess, kind of true.
Yeah. Well, keep us in the loop about when it's coming out and all, because we will absolutely make sure we let people know how they can get it when that time comes.
You are very
Absolutely.
kind. Okay, we have
do
just finished the final draft, so it's
Awesome.
done as far as editing and proofreading and fixing all the grammar and the spelling and all that. And we're at the point where I'm negotiating with publishers right now. I'm negotiating with ebook distributors and trying to figure out what is my best alternative. There is actually a new publisher in Las Vegas called Next Century Publishing that I'm negotiating with. If I choose them, they do a lot of the work for me, and I won't have to mess with it. It's a little bit of an investment for me. I'd hope to get that back eventually, but it's not cheap publishing a book these days.
No, sometimes you gotta spend some money to make some money, right?
Yeah, you do.
Absolutely.
Jeez Louise, we gotta figure out how to turn that around. We know what you mean. We know what you're feeling right now. But your blog is so informative and it's so well written. It's so accessible. And what I love about it is even if you're not in the voiceover business, there's kernels. If you're just a creative professional in a different umbrella, there are kernels that you can take away from that, which I always really appreciate when there's a universality about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very kind, Stacey. I appreciate that. I do kind of waver a little bit from pure VO advice because there's so much out there that I like to write about, and I do kind of tend towards social media stuff, and I try to apply it back to voiceover businesses. So that's my focus. But oftentimes, you're right. I just get turned on by some new technology or new gizmo out there on the web, and I like to write about it because I figure voiceover talent will benefit from it. So
Absolutely.
And for those out there, viewers from around the world that maybe haven't had the privilege to actually read your blog, where can they find that blog at, Dave?
Well, I just redid my blog and my commercial website and put it all together under one. So it's Courvo.com. That's the first 6 letters of my last name, COURV as in Victor, COURVO.com. You can add the /blog to that if you want to go directly to the blog. But if you just go to Courvo.com, you'll find the blog tab at the top, and it'll take you there.
Yeah, your new website, I really like it. Very easy to navigate.
Thank you.
2 thumbs up there.
Oh boy, that was a whole nother story. I mean, everybody wants to have the greatest website, right? But I really wanted to make this one what they call responsive, so that it appears on any kind of device, Android, iOS, so that it appears on any kind of format of template of HTML or Flash or whatever. No matter what you look at it on, you can see it and hear the demos. And that's a real trick these days.
It is. I know people need to really make sure they make that conversion because everyone's on a gadget of some size. So you have to really make sure.
And more often than not, it's a smartphone or a tablet that they're trying to listen to your demos on. So you got to make them available on there.
Absolutely.
So Dave, social media is everywhere and obviously seems to be here to stay. And you are like the wind beneath my wings when it comes to social media. What role do you think it's playing in a voice actor or a creative professional's life?
Okay, well, I think it should be a part, not everything, but a part of every voiceover's marketing plan. Partly because it's free, partly because it's fun, and it raises your general profile to clients, to peers, to prospects. I mean, there's really no downside to it if you do it right.
Yeah. Right. How do you do it right, Dave? Professor Courvoisier.
You've just got to be yourself. You've got to be genuine. If you aren't, people will see through it. And it really doesn't behoove you to try to pick fights on stuff like, religion and politics and Mac versus PC. You're not going to win. You can't pick fights on social media. Yeah. You got to be positive. You need to pay it forward. You need to just, offer help. That's the biggest thing, I think, is pay it forward, and people will start realizing you're helpful. You're there for the right reasons.
Do you have any kind of specific do's and don'ts on social media that you can expand
I've mentioned
on?
at least 1 or 2 right off the top. Don't get into arguments. Flame wars don't work. Be genuine. Be helpful. Pay it forward. If you try to be someone else that you aren't, people are going to see through that. So be yourself, and that doesn't mean you have to be stodgy. Be fun, have humor, but just don't waver into the areas that are going to be contentious or debatable. And each platform has its own unique challenges. For instance, you can only use 140 characters on Twitter, so you got to be very concise, and really short messages of 100 characters are actually better, because then people can retweet it, add another 40 characters of their own message, and then they've got another. So, and then Facebook, is more friendly, more comfortable. They want pictures. You should really post pictures, links, video, big right now. Videos, and we can get into that later, but video's really big on Facebook right now. And then Pinterest, my gosh, it's owned by women, so you want to appeal to a visual side, because let's face it, there's a lot of recipes and fashion on Pinterest.
Right.
So you want to put something that has a visual with it. I found Pinterest to be very responsive. I mean, every time I post something on Pinterest, I get a lot of responses or reposts. And of course there's YouTube. My gosh, YouTube is just this 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be on YouTube as a voice actor. I don't care if you think you have a face for radio. You've really got to create videos that you can post, because people are looking.
Yeah, they are, man.
Yeah.
And let me ask you something. Can you, and because some people don't know this, right? Can you and should you use Facebook and social media as a tool to generate clients or work? And if so, how would somebody go about doing that?
Okay, and there is a real trick to that, and I'm not sure I've got the right answer, but this is what works for me, is you create a conversation, you become part of a conversation, you pick up on somebody else's post, and you add to it, or you ask a question, or you contribute another level of echelon of information to that, and then they might respond to you. I mean, pick the people you're going to talk to.
Yeah.
Make sure they're people that you might want to get work from, and then you start a conversation. When you start a conversation, you create a relationship. When you've got a relationship, you've got trust, and when somebody trusts you, they might just give you a job.
Right.
Because don't you think connecting, becoming friends on Facebook is different than having someone's cell phone or someone's email? Don't you feel like people are a little more open to, I'll be your friend on Facebook, because it's not quite as personal and intrusive as someone sending you a personal email? So you can extend maybe past your comfort zone of going to people on a professional level.
It can be that, and it can be more or less. I mean, it really runs the spectrum. And I haven't even talked about LinkedIn, which I consider to be the more serious sibling in the social media family. I really like LinkedIn a lot, and if you listen and read my blog at all, you'll know that I really push LinkedIn a lot, because it's a little more serious. It's not so frivolous. Not that there isn't a place for Facebook or Twitter, in your social media marketing, but LinkedIn, I think, gets a little more to the heart of the matter, and it's got such great tools for searching and finding prospects that you can't ignore it.
Well,
Absolutely.
and being able to recommend people and their expertise and writing reviews. I think it's definitely focusing on you as a professional.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, let's do that. Let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn, because you're like you said, you're a big heavy hitter there. A lot of people maybe aren't on LinkedIn. Why should they be on LinkedIn, and how could it help them?
Well, like many of the other social media platforms, you get on these places to join smaller groups. So you've got 5,000 followers, but are you in a group, a voice actors group or an e-learning group, if that's your focus? Mm-hmm. Join these groups, and then you have access to a lower level of communication with the individuals in those groups. So if I really was going to focus on e-learning as my niche for voice acting, I would join a bunch of e-learning groups and just start lurking and listening and finding out what they're talking about, be familiar with their topics and their lingo, and then just start contributing here and there, and maybe asking a question or throwing in a factoid or offering a link. And then pretty soon they know you're there, and they, by the way, what do you do? Oh, well, I'm a voice actor. Well, would you mind voicing my project for this e-learning module I have? Those things happen, and it really works. And the other thing about LinkedIn, more than any other social media platform, although it's true of all of them, on LinkedIn, more than any other, you need to be sure and flesh out your profile. And I mean a picture, and very clearly choose your keywords on LinkedIn. More than any other platform, it's really important.
Yeah. What's your feeling about Google Plus? Have you been dabbling in that? Because that's
I love Google Plus.
Yeah.
I think it's the future. I think too many people have discounted it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Facebook is kind of losing a little luster, and G Plus is really picking up on it. Still kind of geeky and a lot male. Not so much female. It's about 65, 35 male, female, but it's picking up a lot of members and a lot of momentum, I think.
Well, what I think is great about Google Plus is that it doesn't censor what you get to see and who you get to communicate with. It may be a smaller group of people, but you actually get to interact
Right.
with the people you want to versus the Facebook's logarithms that say, this is what I think you want to hear. It's a little creepy, but
Yeah.
but I think it's better.
Well,
Google Plus gives you a
plus,
broader spectrum.
Plus, it's Google. I mean, these guys are not going to give up on this
Yeah.
particular platform. They finally found something that works, and they're throwing everything at it. So they're integrating YouTube and Gmail and Calendar and G Drive. They're putting everything into that basket, and you can access any of that stuff from G Plus. And I mean, they're just going to keep throwing resources at this platform.
Yeah.
They are. It's
Well,
not
and
going
you know,
anywhere.
we've talked about all of these different ones, and then you have Instagram, and you have cloud. What's your cloud
That's true.
score? And you know, it's like you go to a party. What's your cloud score? I mean, it's so cheesy. But people that are watching right now are listening to us drone on and on about all these different
Yep.
social media platforms and thinking, how on earth can I incorporate all of this? And I only have certain number of hours in the day. What is your approach? Because obviously you're very busy and you're not spending. We haven't talked about your voiceover endeavors. How much time do you spend, and what do you think is a reasonable expectation to keep a presence in social media?
It's, you know, it is really a personal decision. It's something you may want to incorporate into your business plan. It can be addictive. There's no question. You can go overboard with the stuff. It can drive you nuts. It can be a time suck. So you really do have to make decisions. And there may be certain platforms that appeal to you or seem to fit into your business plan better than others. A lot of voice actors tell me they just can't figure out Twitter. They will not spend time there, and that's fine. So they're on LinkedIn or Facebook or maybe YouTube or, like you say, Instagram. You can really drive yourself nuts with all these. And there's so many new ones coming up all the time. So number one, make sure that you're staying up with the trends on whatever platform you choose. And number two, use a laptop without plugging it in. And when the battery runs out, you're done.
Oh, that's great. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
You know what? I do that when I'm
on a
writing. And when my battery dies, that's my cue of, Stacey, you have to stop, you have to stand up, you have to go get some vitamin D and stand outside. But that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It forces
It works.
you to.
On a MacBook Air, that would be 8.5 hours.
Oh.
So,
Well,
We're not having the Mac PC
yeah,
debate,
if you're on
Chuck.
a PC, then you could do that.
This Pandora's box, we're not opening it. We're not opening it.
So here's a quick one, and we'll end the social media discussion here
Okay.
for now. But if somebody's out there and maybe they're a little overwhelmed with, you know, oh my gosh, I got to join this. If I were only going to join 2 or 3 social media outlets, which do you feel are the 3 that I should be a part of?
I think Facebook clearly is still the biggie. You got to be on there. I would also choose LinkedIn secondly, and I would go with Google Plus third.
Okay.
You got to get Google in there somewhere, be it YouTube or Google Plus.
Yes. Okay, good. And I agree
Love
with
it.
that. That's
Me
that's
too.
very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So, Dave, you're a very savvy networker. We have seen you in action. It is poetry in motion, everyone.
yeah.
Trust us. Not to mention he's very fashionable, but
Very
you are
fashionable.
really good at working a room, as they say. A lot of people feel very intimidated by that. Or they're not sure, you know, kind of people that stay too long with that one person and you're looking for an exit and you're going, please stop talking to me. Do you have any tips for effective networking, building relationships in social settings or in business settings that could help?
That's a great question. You know,
don't
it may
wanna
surprise
answer
you to know I'm an introvert. Seriously, talk to my wife. She'd tell you I'd just as soon be in a cave chewing on a bone. No, I'm just kidding.
I would
I am an
never.
introvert. But luckily, I've chosen an extroverted occupation.
Yes.
And at some point, you've got to be charming, and you've got to be rather. I think there's a good portion of humility that goes into that. You've got to be willing to listen.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to talk to people, engage them, and then shut up and listen to them talk.
Yes.
You know, I think I met you guys first at Voice 2012 in Disneyland, and you had the show had been on the air a couple of months already, I think, by then.
Yep.
And I immediately recognized you, and I thought, well, I don't want to overwhelm them, but I did try to weasel my way close enough to you to shake your hand and say hi and let you know I was there.
We have
and there's a
pictures.
certain finesse to that, you know.
Now remember, wow, man, he looks really good
Yeah.
in pink.
Yeah,
You know, pink might just be my color.
That is
I
your
don't know.
color, man.
it is. It's working for you.
Yeah.
But no, what I find interesting is that a lot of people that really are great networkers are not organically extroverted, and so I think that that's really interesting. I think too, I love what you said about humility. I love what you say about listening, because so much it's like, oh, I have to give you my verbal resume. And really, I think that when you let the other person fill the silence, it's really effective.
Yeah.
People love to hear their own name, and they love to be able to talk to you about their issues.
Yeah.
And if you can shut up and listen, then you've kind of endeared yourself to them.
Yeah. Not to mention, you're going to learn some stuff.
Yeah. So we're going to stop talking.
Yeah.
We're just gonna...
we're going to stop
Wait
talking
a
and
minute.
let you talk.
I've been doing all the talking. What do you mean?
I love it.
Okay, you know what? Now, you talked about this a couple of minutes ago. You said, video. I can get into a whole discussion about that. Let's talk about video and the role that it plays maybe in a voiceover actor's career.
Video is hot right now, and I think YouTube has created that. And interestingly enough, while broadcasting, here I am in my TV studio, broadcasting has gone HD at great expense.
Yeah.
And yet, on the other hand, YouTube has fostered this acceptance of grainy, shaky, crappy video, and people don't care.
No.
They watch it. So it doesn't take, a great amount of effort or expense to create a video. And if you aren't comfortable being on camera, then create some graphics or pay someone, a freelancer, to create graphics for you and put your demo to it, or create a message. You can write your own message and voice it, and then put video over it in some way. There's a million ways to use video, but you can't ignore it. It's just really hot right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what do you think about SoundCloud?
Love it, love it, love it. I mean, I don't know of any other service that competes with it at that level. I mean, they just keep improving it.
Yeah.
I pay for I forget what their level of membership is. It's $25 a month or something, and I consider that just a throwaway because it's so valuable. I mean, all my demos on my website start with a SoundCloud, embedded audio file.
Right. Well, and it's easy to post the SoundCloud files to Facebook, which
no brainer,
yeah.
and to Pinterest and to G Plus and to Facebook. I mean, it starts with SoundCloud.
Yeah. Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes part 1 with Dave Corvo. Be sure and tune in next week for part 2.
You don't want to miss it. Keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VO Buzz Weekly. Take care, everybody, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.